Why should Donald Trump not now get the Nobel Peace Prize?
There are two truths we have to keep in mind, and they're kind of opposite, but the test of our acuity, or maybe even of our democratic survival, is holding both of these things in our minds. The first is that the action that the president took to strike the Iranian nuclear program at a moment when, thanks to Israeli ingenuity and daring, it could be done, which has not been the case before, that was a necessary and correct act, and I salute him for it. At the same time, while we hope that this war is over, it may not be. While we hope the program is over, it may not be. And Donald Trump now becomes a more dangerous threat to American democracy because he still does not respect the due process rights of citizens, the free speech rights, democratic elections, and basic rules about honest government and conflict of interest and not taking massive handouts from persons all over the world undisclosed to the United States people.
With Trump, why are you so scared about him and the potential threat to democracy?
His attempted coup failed in 2021. That's true because he made a mistake. He thought you could overthrow an election with a disorganized mob. And that turned out not to be true. As you say, the American state is powerful. This time around, he's learned his lesson. And he is federalizing the military. He has a military presence in the state of California without the request of the state government. That's unprecedented since the end of armed resistance to civil rights laws in the 1960s. When the courts say you cannot withhold due process rights after litigating something that no previous president would ever think to try to litigate, he says yes, but people around him are saying we're not sure we have to respect the due process rights.
Yeah, but he is abiding by it, and we are seeing some of these decisions being reversed. We're seeing people who were deported returning. In other words, Trump will always push it to get what he wants, but if ultimately he faces a court order to bring them back, it's happening.
Yeah, but this is kind of to borrow a phrase from the George W. Bush administration, which I served, the soft bigotry of low expectations. So congratulations, Mr. President, that when your attempt to do something illegal, immoral, unethical, unconstitutional is struck down by 3 levels of appeal, you don't at that point do what you're doing in the state of California and call out the troops. Congratulations. But actually, you know what the real test for a president is? You're supposed to obey the law automatically. It's not supposed to be something you litigate. The reason John Adams' prayer, "Let none but wise and honest men rule under this roof," is inscribed in the White House over a mantelpiece, is because the presidency is so powerful that it's not much of a comfort to say, after the president has taken a series of bribes and it's litigated, until it is proven that these things are illegal, he will continue. By the way, they almost certainly are illegal. And by the way, the rule against receiving presents from foreign governments is in the Constitution. The president is not allowed to accept a gift from a foreign government without the consent of Congress. And this gift from the government of Qatar may be a gift, it may be extorted, because it's not clear whether the Qataris wanted to do it. This is massively unconstitutional and also illegal because there are conflict of interest laws and gift laws.
Conservative commentator David Frum recently appeared on Piers Morgan Uncensored to unpack something that frankly shouldn't need explaining, that the president of the United States is not above the law. And yet, here we are debating whether Trump's increasingly reckless actions, including bombing Iran, should be seen as bold diplomacy or blatant illegality. Think about this. Iran has not attacked the U.S., hasn't invaded any allies, and poses no imminent threat to American soil. Yet Trump launches strikes and his allies still float the idea of awarding him the Nobel Peace Prize. The Peace Prize, for escalating a potential regional war. It's a level of gaslighting that's almost performance art. And it's not new. Israel has claimed Iran is months away from a nuclear weapon for over 30 years. We can prove this with documented news sources from the past 30 years of Israel claiming that Iran is months away from obtaining a nuclear weapon. If we awarded prizes based on fear-mongering alone, Netanyahu would have shelves full of them. What Frum is pointing out is that Trump isn't just bending norms, he's actively trying to rewrite the rules. Unlike past presidents who pushed legal boundaries in the shadows, Trump does it in broad daylight. He openly declares, "I do what I want," and relies on courts or public apathy to catch up later. That's not strength, it's institutional vandalism. And when figures like Piers Morgan defend this behavior, they're not defending conservative values. They're rationalizing lawlessness in real time. Imagine if an ordinary person stole something, then brought it back and said, "No harm done." We wouldn't accept that. Yet that's the logic being applied to things like illegally deporting immigrants or accepting expensive gifts from foreign governments. Trump gets caught, walks it back, and his defenders act like nothing happened. But when Biden's son makes a sketchy business deal, it's treason. This is a double standard Frum exposes. Trump isn't waiting until he's out of office to cash in. He's monetizing the presidency while he's still in it. Private planes from Qatar, mean coin schemes, you name it. And yet, the same people who screamed about Hunter Biden's laptop are silent. This isn't about ethics, it's about loyalty. Piers Morgan claims he's not a right-winger, but his record says otherwise. Time and time again, he downplays Trump's abuses while holding Democrats to a different standard. If you want to be seen as objective, you can't keep moving the goalposts depending on whose jersey you're rooting for. Let me know what you guys think. Are we normalizing behavior that would land anyone else in prison? And is there still room to hold powerful leaders accountable, or has partisanship erased that possibility? I'm Jake from Meet the Narrative. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.